Arms, and this final chapter of my story. I've linked parts 1, 2, and 3 below. Please watch those before you watch this. Although this might be kind of a standalone piece because it really is going to be just a summary of what I've shared so far. Before waking up, in the early stages of my awakening process, and I became aware of my thoughts, and I started to connect with myself and with the pain and suffering inside. I shared about how I was born into a highly destructive satanic cult that used monarch mind control to program me from birth, probably from the womb, as some parts of me have informed me. Not that they remember that, but they have that knowledge. And how I was trafficked, how I was sexually abused by both of my parents, used as a sex slave, and forced into snuff films. Like I've said previously, these are terrible things, but I find it important to share about them because other people go through this too. I am not alone. And to those of you who've been through these things, who are hearing this now, who are watching this now, you know that you are not alone. There are other survivors who have spoken out, and I believe that every survivor who speaks out has a unique perspective to offer. I believe that while I am by no means the only person who is speaking out and has spoken out, that I add something new to the tapestry of survivor voices in this world, and that someone will find my unique perspective, that perspective that enables them to break free, just like I have found some unique perspectives that have been the perspectives that have largely enabled me to break free. While I remembered my abuse without hearing about other people's testimonies, in large part, I benefited greatly from looking up other survivors' stories, and I have had to go to people outside of this world, outside of the world of ritual abuse, and find people who have been through bad enough things that they can understand and they can listen and empathize with the trauma I've experienced to a degree, but have not been through the actual ritual abuse programming that I've been through, and so therefore they're not dangerous to me in that way. I'm sure that people who hear this can relate. And while I do not wish to compare anyone's trauma to each other's, or say that I've been through worse things than people who haven't been ritually abused, I'm sure people do know this is, probably the most extreme stuff that anyone's heard of today, that I know of. And if there are worse things than MK Ultra programming, monarch programming, child trafficking, I've yet to find them. But I will say that out of all the things I've experienced, the worst has been the aloneness, the isolation, and the separation from my own soul and from whatever higher power flows through us all and ties us all together in oneness. Being cut off from that has been the worst experience I've had. Worse than any of the physical torture. Worse than any of the mind games, the traumas, the things I've witnessed. Worse than the pain that those things caused me has been the separation and the isolation from what I call God.
They capture, you can be put, like me, in a frequency fence, which is basically a force field, and they capture literally everything. And so what I am is a robot, and that's another thing we can talk about. And essentially, I'm a robot. They can control your feelings, your every aspect of your brain, the limbic, they can completely control you.
In other words, that's expressed quite in great detail by Dr. Robert Duncan himself. His own mind functions are virtually all gone. He doesn't have any more of his own.
What that is, there's a term for it. It's called menticide, and that's what's happening to me. In a way, they kill you mentally as a person, and spiritually they can deprive you, completely cut you off of spiritual communication, like they do with me. And it's typical for MILABs, super soldiers. They don't have real dreams. I recently, in trying to get away from this, I'm sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained. There's so much stuff to talk about, but in trying to get away from this mind control, which is absolutely horrible. On the surface, I look okay. I guess I'm kind of cohesive. I can talk okay, but I'm not. I would rather be living under a bridge. I would rather be in almost any condition, and at least have my mind, have a free mind. I can't tell you how horrible this is, but in trying to, you talk about slavery. People who don't have this don't know what slavery is. We are completely defenseless, and the saying goes, I think it was coined by a Russian general in this field. The mind has no firewall. We are completely defenseless, and I can attest to that, and how horrific, how absolutely horrible it is. And you've got a team of people reading your thoughts, your emotions, and interacting with them, interjecting them, and you have no privacy. Instead of having real dreams, which I have not had a real dream, no real dreams. I can't tell you, especially for someone who's very spiritual like me, to be cut off from that is absolutely hellish. So if anyone's wondering, how can this guy, look halfway healthy and, sound halfway articulate and stuff if he's been through all this? Torture victims don't look like this. Well, there you go. And that's part of the plausible, part of the deniability. They call it, a silent weapon, silent techniques. Remember you're a resource to them. I've had real ET contact with real ones and interdimensional beings. I was experiencing true ascension phenomena, a lot of very profound idiosyncrasies. I started having cosmic lucid dreams, and then ET, connections with benevolent types of ETs. So it was true psychic phenomena, and then it started getting into ascension-related things, which I can talk about, multi-dimensional, multiversal phenomena. It's hard to thinking back on it. Like I said, all this has been completely cut off from me. I've been drained from it for a year and a half, and I had various types of ET contact. Some of it was waking when I was actually, conscious. Some of it was a lot of it was in dream state.
What do you mean by ascension? Because people have different views on that.
Right, sure, and it actually makes a lovely kind of cover story hype thing, because there is so much. It's become such a buzzword, and really a lot of new age people have taken to it, and there's a lot of websites surrounding that.
I mean, the new age thing is a bogus mind control thing from the 60s anyway.
It's created from Tavistock, right? But it's ascension, higher consciousness, and we know that humans only use 10 or 11% of their brain, so that's one angle, one way if you want to. It would have been having a much higher consciousness, going into fourth, maybe fifth dimensions, basically, and going into a golden age of enlightenment. Instead, the exact opposite has happened. The powers that be, using the military-industrial medical complex at their disposal, have blocked it out. They've stopped it, and instead, what's happening is descension, which is singularity, whatever you want to call it. What it means essentially is the total enslavement of humans, as I saw it, in things that I personally psychically saw, humans being reduced more to actually a two-dimensional level, being like cartoon characters, really arcanized. I think we needed to have been rescued. The good guys needed to have won. I'm talking about as far as ETs, someone coming in here and doing something. And as far as we're concerned here in this dimension, here and now, we didn't win. It's over. It's over. Humanity's over. And there's a number of things I can point to. I can say about that personally.
Well, tell us about it.
Okay. Actually, let me read the back cover of my book, because it's a good synopsis. By the way, the book is called How Black Ops Military Stopped Ascension, Transhumanism, End of the Human Era. Black Ops military groups are covertly abducting starseeds and stealing their souls and spiritual properties. Starseeds are used as lab rats for horrifying projects, including communicating with the dead and near-death experiments. There was a spiritual war between God/celestial/ascension and transhumanism. The May 2012 prophecy was correct. The global robotization of humans through remote electronic mind control is virtually complete. And says, this is the true story of a MILAB still being used. The author is an extraterrestrial contactee and MK Ultra survivor. Mankind as we knew it is over. Ascension was blocked out, and our planet is a banished, quarantined dimension. So that, in a nutshell, that's what I have to say.